What is going on, guys? Today on Tardy Productions, we're going to be taking these air intakes and ripping them apart, cutting them into pieces, tearing them to shreds. You get the point. $35, we're going to get you an aftermarket air intake. I'm going to show you how, but first, cue the intro. Alrighty guys, so here's what we're going to be doing. I've taken off the air intake off of the Yamaha Bolt. What I've bought is a $35 air intake off of a, it's the Yamaha 950 that they made before the Bolt. I don't know what it's called. It's like a Star 950 or something like that. Right now, we've got $35 invested into this and nothing else. Hopefully it stops at $35 because I'd really like to get this done for really cheap so you guys have a DIY way to make your bike better. And to get that loaf of bread off the side of your bike because it is ugly. I mean, look at how clean the Bolt looks without that huge loaf of bread. I'd love to just shove 2 little filters on there and then call it a day, but we're not doing that. So I've done a lot of research on the throttle body and all that stuff, and this is the Yamaha Bolt air intake. You see like the ports. This is the other one. Exactly the same, they're identical. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this filter and I'm going to make this the outside. So we're going to have a high flow air intake. So what I've done here is, as you can see, kind of right there, I've traced a line right there. I've traced a line on the outside of this. I'm going to take the angle grinder and cut off all of the excess and just leave what we need, which is the mounting area in this section, and that's about it. Now, how we're going to attach the air filter to the back of that, I'm not really sure yet, but we're gonna figure it out along the way. So fingers crossed this doesn't destroy this air intake, but at the end of the day, it was only $35, so that's why I'm taking this risk. I was going to cut apart my stock one, but I realized that if I cut it apart, I wouldn't have an air intake if I messed it up. If this works out, depending on how much you get the air intake for, you could have a $35 aftermarket air intake, and I think it looked pretty cool. Okay, so one of the first things we need to do is figure out the stylistic choices that we're going to be making on cutting this air intake. But what I'm debating on, and sorry about the lighting, you know, I really can't help the sun. What I'm debating on is whether or not to keep this upper lip. Now, I think that I'm gonna cut it off, but I haven't decided fully yet. So here we go. Wait a minute, this is the wrong tool. I've cut the majority of the back. Oh, this is nasty. But so satisfying. I'm kind of unsure to where to go from here. Okay, I'm gonna use a hacksaw. Ah, dude, I hit my chin pretty hard. I'm not bleeding, am I? You tell me. Look at that drip of plastic right there. I don't know if you can see that. That'll be fun to peel off. Look at that. Came right off. Little drip. That would be my rap name if I had. So after a ton of chopping, this is what I've got so far. So it's gonna be mounted like this. Like this. And that's what we got so far. So I left this lip on top, may still cut it off, and I left this lip on the bottom, may still cut that off. There's not a lot of it left. I mean, look at all this. This is all the bulk I cut off. It's gonna go on like this. Oh, I was worried there for a second, but we are good. Bottom's all good, sides are good. We got a lot of clearance left. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim off a little bit of this excess, just round it out so it's not so sharp. And possibly take off that corner. I didn't know that was such a protruding part, but this is pretty compact. I mean, comparatively to this, that's not even with the front on it. I mean, it's just substantially smaller. So I'm excited about it. I think it'll look pretty cool. Plus I made it myself. So after a ton of trimming and rounding and then taking a lighter so it was all smooth. By the way, really helpful tip. If you're wanting to smooth it out and it's like really matte around the edges where you cut, take a lighter to it or a blowtorch. Just be careful, be very conservative with the blowtorch, and it'll shine it up and it'll actually smooth out the edges quite a bit. So, I mean, it's definitely not perfect, but if you didn't know I cut apart another air intake to make this, I don't think you'd really know. Here, let me throw it back on and show you what it looks like. So my only problem right now is deciding exactly how I want to attach this. So I think what I might do is cut a slot here and get a strap, like those straps that hold in your tool belt or your tool kit on the side of the thing, or straps that like hold in a battery. And I might string it over and then all the way to the bottom and then like hold it on like that. Or I may run a bolt through it. I really haven't decided. I'm not sure if I want to do the bolt thing, because then every time I replace my air filter, gotta cut a hole. But I really, really like the way it looks. I mean, just look at the size difference. This is before, this is after. Also, I gotta stop doing wheelies without that air mod. This is all oil inside of there. Okay, so let's go figure out this strap thing. I have to eat lunch really quick, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes. All right, so after a quick lunch, a couple sandwiches later, I think I have figured out exactly what I'm going to do. So there's this pin in here, or this like post. I'm gonna cut that off, and then I'm gonna drill a hole exactly where I cut it off because it fits right there. And I'm gonna replace the bolt that goes in there with a longer one, because there's two bolts already mounting this to the actual intake. So I really don't think it's gonna be a huge deal if that is replaced with something holding this on. And the bolt I'm replacing it with is this long, so it'll go through the air filter into there, and we'll tighten it down as much as we can. I don't imagine it getting more than a few turns. And then that'll be what holds it onto the thing. Not the best. I don't know, I'm running out of options here. So here's what I've kind of settled on. And I actually think it's working out pretty well. I'm taking this razor and I'm just sitting it down on the bottom there and then just shimmying it. I don't even know if I can get that angle. Shimmying it back and forth until it cuts through a good amount, and then I'm just rotating to the other side. And honestly, I think it's gonna come off really soon. Curse these hands. Boom. That is a super clean cut too. That's awesome. So now that that's off, let's drill the hole. So it's all drilled, I put the screw through, so let's get this mounted up and finish up this project. All right, so here it is all mounted up. I'm gonna paint this screw black, and I'm actually not gonna paint this one black because if you can see, it kind of concaves in because the screw is really short. So I'm gonna buy a longer screw, I'm gonna paint it black so you don't really see it, but this is how it looks.